Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for Women's History Month is Arian Simone, author and co-founder of the Fearless Fund, the first venture capital fund built by women of color for women of color. Arian, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, Jill.
And Arian, your story differs from that of a typical co-founder VC fund. Please share with us your unique story.
Oh my gosh. Where can I start on I guess you'll say a Cliff Note version. I'm Arian Simone, one of the co-partners, co-founders and general partners here at the Fearless Fund. And this journey for me, I guess you'll say it's somewhat very personal. I was raising capital as a college student at Florida A&M University, and I experienced what that was like firsthand. And there was nobody for me to pitch to that looked like me. And prior to me opening up my mall-based retail store, I'd raised a few $100,000. And I said, you know what? I said, one day I'm going to be the business investor that I'm looking for. And I made that promise to myself at the age of 21. From there, I went on to build a PR and marketing company from the ground up, completely bootstrapped. And about 14 to 15 years in, I remember the promise that I made to myself, and here I am today. That is definitely the Cliff Note version. Somewhere in between there, I lived out of my car for about 7 months before starting my company. But yes, that's it.
And that's incredible. And let's discuss the playing field now and where minority women are in the world of business.
Oh my gosh, minority women in the world of business are the largest entrepreneurial demographic. They are the most founded entrepreneurial demographic, but the least funded. Currently, right now, Black women in particular receive 0.0006% of venture funds. Women of color, excuse me, are under a percent as a whole. And it's just very unfortunate. We got into this space to, of course, solve the racial disparities that we see in the venture capital industry.
And roughly 80% of venture capitalists are white men. What challenges does that create for women of color?
Well, for women of color, it's not just the lack of access to capital. There's the lack of access to education and the lack of access to the network. When you just gave that stat, 80% of white males, that makes up the majority of the industry of the venture capital space. That prevents, I guess you would say, somewhat of a barrier in network. People organically and naturally gravitate to who they're around and what they know. And if that's the case, that's where the dollars get circulated. There's not just a lack of diverse investments, it's a lack of diverse investors, which is why it's important for people like myself, people of color, and women in particular to be on the investing side of this ecosystem.
And what are VCs looking for in terms of booming industries and the latest trends?
Oh my gosh, VCs are always looking towards the future of work. They're always looking towards technology. Technology is the largest wealth producing industry right now in the world, not just in any particular country. So those are things that people are always going to look for. When you're coming to pitch to an investor, everybody's looking for a great brand story and traction in the marketplace. And once you're able to prove that, you definitely have their attention.
And how do you invest in a fearless mindset?
How do I invest in a fearless mindset? Personally, I definitely believe in having, I guess you would say, a morning routine. I'm very grounded. I don't start my day off checking emails or on social media. I think how we start our day dictates a lot of other things that can happen to how we respond throughout the day. In reference to being just fearless in general, I wanted to start with the grounding because that's important. But I believe that you just have to go after your dreams at all costs. We are all here for different purposes and reasons, and we're here to serve others. And at the Fearless Fund, we are doing just that. We believe in a mission that is bigger than ourselves. So our why is what makes sure that we stay fearless at all times.
That is encouraging to hear because I'm one of those people who does not check my email or social media the second I get up. I kind of get my day going, get some exercise in, kind of get my head straight before I start with the work stuff. So that's a good thing. And I'm glad that you said that's a good attribute to have. Do you think, I guess if we think of silver linings during the pandemic with access to more technology and the fact that we understand how to work in a remote environment that's building more diverse workforces and so forth, it certainly has put a light on providing that access to all. Do you think the backdrop is getting better for women of color, women in general?
I will say that there has been a large spotlight on social justice and all of the civil unrest that existed pre-pandemic in this country and even just around the world. COVID has been the silver lining where the world has had to stop and take more notice of the different things going on. And because of that, a lot of corporations and organizations have issued statements and initiatives in order to help make this world a more equitable place. So there is that silver lining. There was also the fact that when COVID hit, everybody was working virtually. We've been able to take way more meetings than we normally would. So we've been able to increase our level of productivity in this space as well too. But I would definitely say the spotlights of the social injustices have helped. And we're looking forward to see how that carries out in the future when COVID is not here.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how that all plays out and if people put their money where their mouth is and really do invest in more diverse workforces and companies and so forth. Arian, it was great to meet with you. Thanks so much for sharing your story and for joining us on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you.